Welcome, friends. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may live, laugh, and lore.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
Oh, that took.
Program loaded and ready.
Make it so.
Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tony.
And I'm Mark.
And today we have a holiday episode.
Yep. It's coming out, I think, 2 days after the 4th, so July
2 days?
6th.
Yeah. So we're promptly naming it the FolkLORE of the United States of America.
Yes.
And so once again, this is very, we did President's Day. Mark, I feel like your love for history.
Yes.
And just United States in general, that deep lore. Like I said in that episode, and I'll say it again in this episode, if it doesn't have a galactic, credit system or any political things or just lightsabers and laser swords, or on the inverse, magic or dragons,
yes.
I'm about useless. So, no, it's gonna be super fun, and I can't wait to hear more about this. But I'm the one who kind of came up with the games with today. We'll talk about that later in the episode. But Mark, without further ado, the FolkLORE aficionado.
Yes.
Mark.
So last time for the President episode, I kind of debunked some stuff. I'm taking a different approach here. I'm not debunking anything. I'm just going to talk about some legendary people that are the fabric of our folklore. And then, of course, dip into one of my favorite movies. 2 movies, National Treasures 1 and 2. Okay?
I love it. Perfect.
I'd be remiss if I didn't just dabble in, okay?
Yeah. Because that's really, half of American history is Nicolas Cage inspired.
Exactly. Which we need a third
portrayed?
One. Or what?
I said inspired. I was like, well, really portrayed by?
Portrayed. Yeah. We need a third one, but I'll leave that soapbox for some other time.
Do you really want, Mark, in this climate?
I need a third.
They haven't done
treasure.
any good remakes or sequels. I can't tell you in how long. But maybe this is the turn, the tides that turn.
Yes. Nick Cage can do anything, Tony.
You're right. He can just tell those executives to shove
it. We need to know what was on page 47.
I know. Exactly.
Yes. All right. More on that later.
Yep.
So I was looking up for folklore and legends, and I kind of just picked some people, Tony, that everybody that we knew growing up, that everyone you should know based on folklore, right? So by folklore, legendary figures, Tony, I'm going to start with one that everyone should know, just to
level set me.
Yeah.
If it's not Johnny Appleseed, I don't know what we're doing here.
He's on the list, but he's not.
Is
the
he
first
really?
one. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Paul Bunyan.
Oh. Big Blue Ox.
Yes, Babe the Big Blue Ox.
Babe.
What do you remember about Paul Bunyan, Tony?
He's got a blue ox. That's all I remember.
That's it? Okay.
Oh, no. I remember a lot, actually. Well, the only reason, the significance of him is his whole shtick is, he was tired. He, left his axe to, drag on the ground, and he made the Grand Canyon.
Correct.
Isn't that the whole shtick?
His shovel, but yes, correct.
Was it shovel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But, when you think of lumberjacks, I think this is typically... The image you conjure is Paul Bunyan.
Yes, that is 100% true.
That's all I got.
So theoretically, he was born in Bangor, Maine. Okay. But he was so big. So tradition holds for to the youngins. When babies are born, they were given to the parents via storks. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the old adage.
Uh-huh.
It took 5 storks to carry Paul Bunyan to his parents. Okay.
Yep.
That's how big he was.
We can confirm it now. I'm a father, Mark. We can just say it's still a stork.
Yeah.
That's not what big medicine would have you believe.
This is not lore.
This is confirmed. Yeah. Big medicine would believe it's a whole process.
Yes. So his lumberjack appearance actually came from French-Canadian lumber camps. A legend kind of started, and then it adapted to the American version that we know now.
Yeah, he's more North Maine.
Yeah. So, but that's where the lumberjack pictorial look comes from. The reason he had to be delivered by 5 storks is because he was already dozens of feet tall as a baby. Okay, he's a big boy. Yeah. I mean, he had to be if he made the Grand Canyon with his axe, his shovel. When he got older, he was able to create major landmarks in the United States. So his footprints created the 10,000 lakes in Minnesota.
Okay.
His shovel created the Grand Canyon. His use of rocks to extinguish campfires created Mount Hood. So big things like that.
Yep.
As you said before, Paul Bunyan was accompanied by his trusty steed, Babe the Blue Ox.
Heck yeah.
Who was almost as big as he was. And because of their hand in creating the geography of America. There are multiple statues of them all across the country as a testament to the country's love to his tale. You know?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it's fun. You know, I like it because, he's Paul Bunyan.
Yeah,
I actually went as Paul Bunyan for Halloween one time I went in college with my friend Briar. She was Babe the Blue Ox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We won the costume contest. It was
yeah,
awesome.
what a classic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you never really think about it until someone brings them up and you're like, oh, I remember that day in 4th grade, whatever, history. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's awesome. I love how we're going with this.
Yes, right?
I haven't heard Paul Bunyan in a long time, and the fact that I just brought up Babe is nice.
Yeah. All right, next one, Tony. John Henry. What comes to mind when you hear John Henry?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's got nothing on me.
If I said a hammer, let's see.
Oh my gosh. Is
hammer
he the guy?
and the steam-powered hammer?
Yes, okay. He's the guy. Dude, I remember watching the animated clip of this. He's got 2 sledgehammers, and the whole shtick is that he's building the railroad, right?
Correct.
And so his whole thing was like, he said they could never beat this steam engine train that's going to make the tracks for it. Mm-hmm. And he ends up beating it, but at the very end, he passes away out of exhaustion. But
Yes.
it's a show of the American spirit, right? Isn't that the
Correct.
whole...
Correct, yes.
John Henry, okay.
That's his name, yes.
Yeah,
so he, according to legend, he was an African-American slave born in the South during the mid-1800s. Legend has it that he was around 6 feet tall and weighed more than 200 pounds. And as we know, Tony, you have to be
First off,
200 to do something, okay?
I'm not, I don't want to say anything, but your boy's got those stats. How you doing? But not for the strength factor.
No.
But, shoot.
So in those days, that was big enough to guarantee you'd be given exceptionally tough work because you're big and strong, right?
Your stature is going to
So that's the bad with the good.
Yep.
Especially building railroads and digging tunnels, which is what he did.
Which is like the worst at that time. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Now, I'm not debunking anything here, but, he's a lore figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if Henry did exist, we don't know if he did or not, he likely worked on the Big Bend Tunnel that went through the mountains of West Virginia.
Okay.
So that's where this kind of the story that we all know takes place. From there, the legend has thousands of variations. Some say Henry challenged the tunnel-making machinery to a duel to see who could drive out stakes and blast rocks faster.
Mm-hmm.
Most stories claim that he won and died of exhaustion after the contest.
Yeah,
However,
that's how I remember it.
Yeah. However, there's a select few that some say he won and went on swinging from coast to coast.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I don't like that he died, but it's
Yeah.
a true testament, the one that he does die against the machine. I beat you, but it took literally everything.
But I was willing to make that sacrifice
Correct.
to prove,
That
the
we could do
spirit.
it.
There's something about, the I think a lot of these folklore were kind of it was kind of a fun, interesting thing you tell kids, but at the same time, too, it's like, there's some truth or meaning that they're trying to share, too, where it's just like, oh, this is the American spirit. This is the will of people who are willing to, put in that hard work, put in that dedication. No matter amount, automation there, we'll be able to,
yes.
push through and beat it at the end.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a cool story. That's one of the. I remember reading it in high school, like the little novella of it, short story, right?
Yeah.
So he's always stuck out to me. All right, Tony. Now is our boy Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, I was waiting for him.
Yeah.
baby.
So Johnny Appleseed, confirmed real person.
Wow.
Named
Okay, I didn't know
John
that.
Chapman. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Johnny Appleseed is runs deep in American folklore. You can find his story everywhere, even in places he didn't plant his apple seeds.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
So he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't a magical scatterer of apple seeds from sea to shining sea. He was just a regular guy named John Chapman that loved apples and kind of introduced it to the areas of Ohio, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Indiana, kind of deal.
Wow, Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he did this in the late 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
And some say it's not as exciting as a legend, but Chapman's real life was interesting enough. He owned land from Ohio to Indiana and worked as a Christian missionary and helped make peace between Native Americans and white settlers,
Okay.
which is kind of cool. While we don't know exactly what trees, but we do know that some of his trees are still standing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll never forget. Okay, so it must have been It must have been in middle school. I don't know if you remember. We literally had a history class lesson, you know what I mean, over X amount of weeks where it was all about the folklore. And I'll never forget when they got to Johnny Appleseed. It was one of those times where they're reading the story and they're like, oh, yeah, apple seeds. But at that time, you don't really quite understand. Like, seeds, plant, ground, germ, you know what I mean? You get fruit. That's how it goes. But you never really ask yourself, like, where that cycle starts because you're like, dude, where are the seeds? Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget our teacher cut the apple in half. Not like, if you're looking at an apple sitting on a table, not in a vertical fashion, but horizontal fashion, because then you can see the stars.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she showed us the seeds, and I'm like, brother, you're telling me we have infinite food source. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the apple, the fruit has the seeds that you plant, and I will never forget. Like as a little kid, it's stuck in my head. I'm like, brother, you know what I mean? Like this is it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You can't tell me crap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting pumped about that. And then that's why, I was so blown away. And then we talked about how he had the seeds and planted them, and he was always very depicted with like a kettle on his head or a pot, and he was always kind of this eccentric character throwing seeds everywhere. But, yeah, wow. But it was an actual real person who's a Christian missionary, owned land, and just planted trees because he felt dedicated.
Yeah. And so there's a whole website that I was looking stuff up on, and it names like the most famous, folklore person from each state, and he's the one for Ohio.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, no wonder why he stuck out of my head.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now he's trending on the internet, the modern day Johnny Appleseed. I don't think his name's actually John, but he goes...
It'd be crazy coincidence.
Yeah, to like food con, like Comic Cons for food, essentially. Like food conventions or whatever.
Yep.
But he's responsible for reviving and saving over 50 types of species of apple.
Oh, wow.
That either were extinct or almost were extinct.
Wow.
And so he's been dubbed the modern day Johnny Appleseed.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
revival.
A little preserving
natural
apple history,
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's important.
Somebody's got to do it, Tony.
Exactly. Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Dude, that guy knows how to make apple pie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
All right, next one on our list, Geronimo, Tony. Have any idea who he is?
I know when you're falling down somewhere, you know what I mean? Like you're going to jump into the pool, you can say, Geronimo. That's about all I got.
That's true, yeah.
I think that's from, is that Peter Pan?
It might be, yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So is it Native American roots or something?
It is Native American
Okay,
roots.
so it's got to be Peter Pan.
Apache Indian.
Okay, but Peter Pan didn't do the best description of Native Americans. But you know what I mean.
Correct. Yeah. So I knew about him because my dad loves Western movies, and Geronimo is his favorite movie of all time, I would say.
Oh,
if
wow.
not pretty close.
Not The Good, the Bad, the Ugly?
No, he likes that one too.
I thought that'd be up there. That was the one thing.
It's his ringtone, is The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, because Jenna actually just turned it on the other day, and I was walking out of the room, and it literally brought me back to when I was staying at your house and hearing your dad. Every once in a while, I think he'd rewatch it, and I'd hear that. And it reminded me.
He loves all Westerns, but he really likes ones with Native Americans in it.
Wow, so Geronimo.
So Geronimo it is. And I remember, so he was a leader here. It was right after the Civil War, right? And there was a general, was it a general? Anyways, George Crooks. He was the leader of the Union forces at that station, right? And he had a very good relationship with him, but trying to tell him that the U.S. has taken over this land, right? And he was instead of just conquering them, he was trying to make a deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a gray beard and like piercing eyes, so they called him Nantan Lupan, which is like gray wolf or wolf leader. You're right. And I just because it's Matt Damon in that movie, and he has to have like a real Southern drawl, and he goes Nantan Lupan. It just sticks in my
yeah. Just the way he says it.
Yeah, and then Native Americans are Nantan Lupan. It's like it just sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Geronimo, an Apache leader from the Arizona area.
Okay.
Was captured and forced onto a reservation by the U.S. Army in 1876. The persecuted Apache leader fled to Mexico eventually, but after that, things got murky and exaggerated of what he did, and this is why he's part of lore.
Folklore, yeah.
The story goes that Geronimo's wrath toward the white man was such that he killed thousands over about 10 years that he was on the run, using magical powers and ESP to seek them out. It's said that it took many thousands of soldiers and scouts to track this warrior down because he was so elusive. By the time Geronimo finally surrendered in 1886, His group consisted only of 16 warriors, 12 women, and 6 children. Geronimo and his people were shipped to Florida, then relocated to Alabama and Oklahoma, where they were placed in prisons and reservations, and he finally died as a prisoner of war in 1909.
Wow, POW.
But just to think that he killed thousands of white men just with his mind, you know? That's pretty intense.
That's crazy.
Now, they don't go into that in the movie, but...
but that power is sick.
Yeah.
See new Chia?
Yeah, right. It could have been.
The visual prowess,
Yeah.
you know?
All right, Davy Crockett, just got a couple more.
Or Conqueror's Hockey for those One Piece. I'd hit that up, sorry.
Hockey, yeah.
Now I'm watching One Piece. I gotta hit him up. Yeah, okay. Big sequel, sorry.
Wrong episode, Tony.
Wrong episode, yeah. When I bring to Joe and Paul, say, hey, I reference it, you know?
Davy Crockett, Tony, what comes to mind when you think Davy Crockett?
Coonskin hat.
Yep, that's true.
That's about, but I think he's based off a real person, right?
He is, yeah. Davy Crockett was. He's very, the story that we know is very exaggerated, but he was a real person, yeah.
So I don't know if it was Uncle Bob, but one of the uncles, my dad, that was their, lullaby with the coonskin cap.
Oh, yeah, certainly
that
Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
We had a growing up, my dad had a coonskin cap that we wore from Uncle Bob.
As tall as a mighty oak tree.
Yes, yeah. And he died, what do you think he died at? Remember the...
Alamo.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that's kind of
Texas.
his other dick,
Yeah.
So born in 1796, David Crockett was nearly a legend without fictitious additions to his story, but they came nonetheless.
Of course. Well, it's like every great leader
it's a fishtail,
at that time, it's always been more. Yeah. Because it's word of mouth. You're not.
Yeah.
I mean, when stuff is word of mouth, you're kind of getting this oral tradition, which is typically like, when's the last time you said a story without exacerbating something? You know what I mean? It's just natural. But yeah, it's crazy how the lengths it came.
Yes. So by Crockett's own account, he killed a bear when he was only 3 years old. So he's also adding to his, his folklore. You know what I mean? Yeah. He knows he's...
But if you know you're going to get written down in history, might as well flavor it up a little bit.
Was this happen? Or was this true? Maybe not, but Crockett swore anyway that it happened. Swearing up and down. More stories then emerged of Crockett's rough and tough childhood, with lots of bears, bullies, and snake encounters that all ended with him winning,
Yeah.
Because he can't lose, right? He's like the Chuck Norris of that time.
Of FolkLORE. Of the Texas birth, yeah.
What we do know is true that as Crockett represented the state of Tennessee in Congress, but when he was defeated for re-election, he went off to explore Texas. His travels led him into battle at the Alamo, where he was shot and killed. Tales of Davy Crockett show him wearing a coonskin cap, as you mentioned, and carrying his rifle, which he lovingly called Old Betsy.
I think I might have known that, the Old Betsy thing.
Yep.
Yeah, if I would have... Yeah, wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much you think, you don't think you know, and then you say a couple sentences, you're like, oh, I remember. Yeah,
exactly. All right, the last one I just want to touch on is Betsy Ross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought she kind of got a little debunked. But the whole point is she's the one who sewed the first version of the American flag.
Correct.
13 stars, whole red, white, whole field of blue, stuff like that.
Tony, we're not debunking anything.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. No worries.
Yeah. So Betsy Ross, but to your point, researchers have looked on it, and so someone obviously made the first flag.
Yep. Hey, give it to her. It's all good.
We don't know who it was.
Yep.
So the earliest accounts of Betsy Ross was actually in 1876, the 100th birthday of America, because they wanted a new face, especially a female face, in folklore, because there's not many.
No, yeah.
So they like to depict it as because all the men were fighting in the war, who was it was probably a woman who made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
A seamstress of some sort, and so they named her Betsy Ross.
Wow, awesome.
For George Washington. This was the first official flag of the United States.
Yep. Francis Scott Key's the one who composed Star Spangled Banner.
But that was over the War of 1812, not
correct. Later on.
Yeah.
But it always got me. Those are like the two things of American history: the flag and the anthem, and then yeah. Wow, so Betsy Ross. So wow, that's cool.
So obviously George Washington, there's a lot of folklore around him.
Oh,
but we already did a president's one, and there's just so many that I didn't want to pick and choose.
Okay,
but he is the most
talked about, revered,
folklorized. I don't know how you want to say that.
Oh yeah.
Person in American history.
Has to be, yeah. I was looking at founding father fun facts, and about 90% of them were all George Washington. Yeah, and by link 3 or 4, I still wasn't getting like repeats. I was actually getting new ones. You know what I mean? So it's pretty impressive how much people talk about and written about and everything like that.
Yeah. So I found this podcast. It's called Presidential, and it's because I love history, right?
Yep.
Especially president history, as you all know. This one's really good, and it's different because most are like podcasts are like biographical. There we go, of presidents and their lives, and just talk about the facts, right?
Yep.
Presidential's really cool because she reads their journals and their diaries, and talks about not what they did, but who they were as a person.
Yes.
And it sheds like a whole different light on him,
dude. Yeah.
And he's a person. He was afraid. He got angry. He didn't want to be president, but he thought it was his duty. It's just I can't.
I love it. Yeah,
I can't plug that podcast enough.
That's huge. It's so funny that you mentioned that. So Jenna and I got this during baby leave a little bit. There's this British guy. I can't remember his name. It's more of Jenna's show than my show, but I've been watching it. And it's all about history of civilization, but in the terms of peasants. And I love it.
I love
There's nothing more, because after a while, it's like, okay, this happened, that happened. Because then it just becomes these huge events in their lives and whatever. It's like, no. What did the plebeian look like in Roman society? What was the lowest form of Greek philosopher? Yeah. Like, what did it look like? What was their day-to-day like? How is it different? How is it? And I just love stuff like that. So I love humanizing society, because so often in history you're taught this is what happened. Maybe you read someone's written accounts of something, and that's kind of a glimpse on what they're thinking about, because it's like their thought processes on paper. But I love when it's humanized like that. Yeah. And I think I'd really like that. If there's ever going to give me something in history, I'd listen to that. And I'm definitely going to recommend that to Jenna.
Yeah.
So at a bare minimum, we'll get Jenna to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good.
And then you can have your own President Lore with Jenna.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I'd love to go that too. But any more on folklore?
Yes. So we're going to dump into National Treasure real quick.
Okay.
Right?
I'm so excited.
Okay, buckle in, Tony, because I'm about to open a door here, okay?
I love it. It's already there. I should have rewatched the movies just to prep. Yeah.
So National Treasure 1. These are... I have a few comfort movies, but these are definitely in the list, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing about National Treasure 1, right? You're stealing the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
But that's just one step of it. It's about the Knights Templar treasure.
Yeah.
That they're trying to find it to save the Declaration of Independence, right?
Yep.
But let's just talk about the Knights Templar a little bit, Tony. Okay?
This is very Assassin's Creed-esque,
yes.
by the way.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed's all about the Templars. They're always about artifacts of society.
So the Knights Templar is real.
Yeah.
And they had a treasure.
Oh my gosh, Indiana Jones, same thing. Why am I just putting all this together?
Correct. So they were members of a religious association called the Poor Knights of the Christ, right? But they formed in the Knights Templar after the First Crusade at the about 1095 or 1099. Yeah, so First Crusade. And they joined together. Their main purpose was to protect Christian pilgrims from in the Holy Land from attacks from Muslims. So at that time, in that region, in what our present day Middle East was, the Crusades. So the Muslims and the Christians both thought they had claim of the Holy Land of Jerusalem, and it was a very war-heavy time because they both just fought over a lot.
Yep.
It was a rough time, and a lot of killing, and a lot,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The Holy Roman Empire, the Pope used their army to slaughter people. It's a rough time. It's a rough time for all parties involved.
Yep.
But that's just the history of
Holy wars are typically pretty rough. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They modeled themselves after an order of Benedictine monks, so they took an oath of poverty and chastity.
Mm-hmm.
However, over the years, they started to lose their sense, and they broke their vows.
Yep.
And they started to amass a treasure from their conquests.
Yep.
So,
because wasn't that the whole thing where they could amass a treasure, but since it was the organization's ownership, it's not anyone individually, they weren't breaking. I think that's I can't remember. There's a sub-context there, but I think that's one of them where it was the order's treasure.
Correct.
Not individual's treasure.
Yes.
So they're technically, we're in poverty.
That's what they said, but they amassed so much wealth and power that they were
effectively
they were in the upper echelons of society.
Oh yeah,
they were not living,
as a poverty. Yeah,
correct. So after the last Crusader state was conquered back by the Muslims in 1291, they had lost their original purpose of protecting Christians from Muslim invasion because it's already done. The Muslims have conquered all the other lands.
Yep.
So in 1307, it was ordered for the arrest of every Templar because we're eliminating them because we don't need them anymore. And by 1314, the Grand Master was killed, and this is marked as the formal end of the Knights Templar. Allegedly. Now, this is where the lore comes in.
Yeah.
Because there's no direct links from them to the Freemasons, but it's widely believed via legends that they reorganized under the Freemasons, which started in the medieval times as stoneworkers, but formalized in 1717 in London as the group, kind of the group we know today. I mean, it's changed since then, but as the organization today, it formed in 1717. So, because they are the spiritual descendants, that's what they call themselves, of the Knights Templar, they became the new keepers of that treasure.
Yeah.
And they took that responsibility, hiding it, making sure it was safe. National Treasure says it was taken to New York by the Freemasons because at least 9 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence
were Freemasons.
Probably more. So at that time, so all lodges have records, but at that time, not all of them were preserved. So they have confirmed 9, but likely others were.
I was about to say, not preserved. Seems like
correct.
By the way, really quick, quick interruption. I learned this while I was googling all this. Do you know that there's 3 people who refused to sign the Declaration of Independence?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought it was unanimous. Everyone in the group said, "Yep, I'm down." No, 3 people literally walked away, did not sign it.
Was it because one state was? Again, were they from Georgia? Do you know what state they were from?
I have no idea. As I was researching, that was the one thing that shocked me. I was like, oh my God. Well, there's a lot of things that shocked me. I mean, one of all the things I memorized, history is not one of them. But, unless there's lightsabers or dragons.
Yes.
Apparently 3 people walked away. But sorry, keep going.
Yes,
keep going. My bad.
So, that's really lore, because if you really think about it, now...
I like how they did that, though. They built it up because it's exactly like they're going off.
It's one of the reasons I love the movie.
Yeah, they're going off of real folklore.
Yes. Historians believe, though, if there's actually a treasure, that it's still probably hidden somewhere in the Middle East.
Oh, I was about to say.
Or theoretically in London, because that's where the Freemasons started.
The headquarters out there?
Yeah. But I like the idea. It's coming to
I know. I love that. I mean? Yeah, heck yeah.
But... this treasure is very important because it would contain items such as the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, the true cross of Jesus Christ.
Wow. Because people only claim pieces right now.
Correct.
We were in Vienna. They claim,
correct. And there's a saint that...
Well, the same claim. I don't want to debunk them, but you know what I mean? Correct. They're like, this is a wooden piece of the cross. This is also John the Baptist's tooth. We went through that. It was really cool. Yeah. It was crazy.
Because there's a saint that claims she found a part of the cross, and all the pieces are from that thing that she found.
Correct. Yeah.
But if the actual cross is still intact, that'd be insane.
Yeah. There's like a shroud and turret too. It's like, whoa, how is that? Dude, that's where maybe they are like, ooh, people are on us.
Yeah.
We'll release the shroud.
To get them off that chain. Yeah. Obviously, gold and silver and relics from
all
various
ages. I mean,
cultures, right?
Yeah. From First Crusade on, I mean, holy cow.
Scrolls from the library in Alexandria in Greece that was sacked, right?
Yeah.
Like we see in the movie.
So really quick, outside of what they believe, there's one thing where people talk about how like society's evolving to a point where like there's something about like humans just like to be a part of a collective, a group, an organization. And there's something so like, wow, could you imagine if you could trace your roots all the way back then?
Yeah.
And have like a lineage? Like that's pretty cool.
It is,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now granted the group might have done, some questionable things, but I'm just saying like that's crazy to think about. Like they have a no joke ledger of everyone back to, you know, First Crusades. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we can barely do that. You know what I mean? We just try to go to the start of America for our genealogy. I mean, honestly, this is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go all the way back up, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, anyway, the treasure's real. Well, There
Maybe.
was a treasure, whether or not
Maybe.
it's still together or
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I like to believe there's a treasure hidden out there.
Yeah.
you know? Because especially with the Grail, there's so many theories on it. The Ark of the Covenant, there's so many theories on it.
Yeah, it's a cup of a carpenter.
Yeah. So a lot of people think the Ark of the Covenant actually still is in Jerusalem, but it was sacked. The temple was sacked so many times. So where it was originally in the center of the temple in Jerusalem, it's called the Holies of Holies, and the head rabbi once a year can go in there and pray with the Ark of the Covenant.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But tradition holds, or at least they think, that space goes vertical, straight up, straight down. It's like the air, right?
Yeah.
But nowhere else. It's a small thing. So when it was sacked, some people say it was moved to a different country or whatever.
Just to be safe.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people, there's also a belief that it's buried like several hundred feet below, but directly under where that room would have been.
Wow. Okay.
And we don't know because no one, when that theory came to light, there was some like drilling and reconstruction in Jerusalem when that was happening. And some Jewish believers of that claimed it was holy ground and that nothing could disturb it. And they won in court there.
Oh, wow.
So we could have found out.
Who knows? Yeah.
It could be there, but they have rules that you can't.
Of course. Yeah.
But
Because it's
that
either
means it.
war torn or there's rules regulating against it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So that's the treasure map of on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
Wasn't that
That's
like
so fun.
lime or lemon juice or whatever he puts on it, and they like heat it up with a hair dryer?
Yeah,
and
so that's to find invisible ink, right? And then he finds
Yeah.
more clues, and
Yeah.
So I love that movie. Real quick, the second movie is all about the Civil War, Knights of the Golden Circle. That's real. It's pretty much the underground group that's trying. It's how they describe themselves, and they are the patriots of the Civil War, right?
Oh yeah. Okay,
But
I remember
they
right
weren't,
now.
you know.
Yep.
And the biggest thing here, the Book of Secrets, obviously. So there's nothing to confirm that the book exists, but to me it makes sense that there is some sort of
Library of Congress.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Come on, man.
It makes
Mark,
sense to me.
I would want nothing more for you to be president, so you could look at that and never tell anybody. That would make me so happy.
I think that would kill me though, not being able to talk about
really.
it. I don't know.
First off, hey, tell me how
Yeah.
you doing. Yeah.
You have the need
don't
to
do
know?
anything.
You have-
Probably. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But to me, it makes sense.
Hey, wait, you're
Tony.
president. You could make me. Yeah,
That's
you could
true.
make
I
me.
could-
Yeah,
I could give you
pardon
the
me.
need to
You're
know.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, me and you just keep that to our grave. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Hey, promise me if you ever get that, you know,
All
what I
right,
mean?
I
You
promise.
get there, promise me.
Yeah.
Hook me up.
But it makes sense to me that
I'll
there's
vote for you, too.
some sort of ledger or lessons learned that goes back to George Washington for
I
every
know.
president, right?
Could you imagine that? But it's gotta. I mean, there's gotta be some version of it, some
Correct.
form of it,
Right.
Whether it's pieced together or an actual like. There's no way it's a bound. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way they're like, here's this big red book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Here you go, Bilbo.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what? Yeah, I don't think it's anything like that, but there's got to be some aggregation of thoughts, lessons learned. You know what I mean? Everything like that. Can you imagine? I don't know.
The
And
secrets that are in
reading
there,
that?
right? Moon landing, Watergate tapes, Area 51, right?
Yeah.
UFOs. You know,
Yeah.
there would be so originally on the list was, documents surrounding like the JFK assassination.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
President Trump just released those like a couple months ago. So
Okay.
I guess if they were in the book, they're no longer in the book. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Or they're this it's the red herring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Which is like the least spicy of the group, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, holy cow, but
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. That'd be cool.
The last thing I just wanted to mention in the second one, they find Cibola, which is the city of gold.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
A little bit.
It's hidden by Mount Rushmore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in reality, there's 7, and they're
That's what I thought. I thought
there's-
there was like they're
Yeah.
all over the place, right?
and they're down in New Mexico, Arizona, that area.
Yeah.
Nowhere near this, but it's kind of fun to think that Mount Rushmore is a cover-up.
Yeah. That'd be kind of rad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they haven't added another president, man. You know
Yeah,
what I
right?
mean? Yeah. Because that's what people always said. They're like, they only wanted to cover up so much, and then they wanted to get to that point.
Yes.
But
So
that's fun. I do like this. That's what gets me interested about history. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, this gray area, you know?
one interesting fact that I do want to actually share too is that
Please
if
do.
you remember in the second one, he's got to kidnap the president to figure out, Yeah.
Dude,
right?
is that the scene right before? Because I'll never forget the scene where the Genius Whiz guy is running the red lights. He's changing the red lights so they can run past all the red lights. You know what I'm talking about? He's like phoned in and he's like changing the lights so they make every light.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that was the second one or the first one.
So
or
I think
what.
that's because I think that's the second one. But
You
anyway,
know what I'm talking about? Not
yeah,
a big deal.
yeah.
But I just remember in the movie, I was like, dude, you're telling me traffic lights are like automated?
Yeah.
Like, whoa. But then I think it's when they're stealing the president or they're doing something. They're like trying to get in.
Yeah. Well,
It's more James Bond-esque with the technology.
So he wasn't turning so they can make the red lights. He was trying to run a red light because it would take a picture of the board.
Oh,
and he was hacking into it to
get the picture
to
of
delete it so he doesn't get a ticket and to get to
okay. I remember there's something
That
where
was-
he was getting into it. Oh, okay. Wow, Mark, dang, you really do watch these movies.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But the interesting, so that scene where he kidnaps the president is because they find like a secret shaft underneath Mount Vernon, like a secret escape thing. Turns out, shortly before the movie was filmed, that was actually discovered. Like
They
that was
uncovered it?
Yeah, and that's why they used it in the movie. It was up until then, it was a previously undiscovered,
Could
thing.
you imagine the writer room? They're
Yeah.
like, oh my, write that down,
Yeah.
that down.
Guy, did you see the news thing?
Yeah, write it down. This is gold. This is perfect. Yeah.
So I thought that when I was looking
Oh,
at
that's
it,
super cool that they incorporated it too and did a quick turnaround. Because wasn't it within the same like couple months where that was undiscovered? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they discovered it and they put it in the movie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
And for that to be a plot point is even more like, how cool is that?
yeah. So I'm a big proponent of National Treasure 3. What do you guys think? You should
Please.
let us
Yeah.
know. Am I
Who should
crazy?
direct it?
Yeah. Who should direct it?
Nicolas Cage is in it for sure.
Nicolas Cage, the original 3.
Yeah.
John Voight's still alive, so might as well throw him in.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, he's in his
He's a
90s.
4. Yeah. Come on, yeah.
I'm in. What do you guys think?
I-
I'd sign it. At one point, there was a petition to get it, and I signed that petition. That was a long time ago, and it didn't go anywhere.
Hey, you can be the
But,
change, Mark. Make another one,
So Nick Cage has actually been very silent on this, but all the other actors have been like, "Yeah, we'd do it." But Nick Cage
He's
has
silent
been,
because,
yeah,
he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't strike right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got to wait a little bit.
exactly. So that's what I had. I try to keep it, a little
it's
short
perfect.
for the games, right? But,
No, that was me. I was asking you a lot of questions, and I was super interested. I love hearing this folklore. It's a lot of fun, and I love hearing the connections. And I forgot how much the Templars made a impact, especially on that first one, the treasure and everything like that. That was really awesome. So really quick, Mark, I'll actually go through these. Really, the game right here is of the main founding fathers. Now, there's not an exact list, so I'm not pulling any weird ones, but of the ones you could probably name off the top of your head. I'm going to say an interesting fact,
Okay.
and I want you to associate with one of them that you think.
Okay.
Right? So, of all the founding fathers who became president,
Okay, that narrows it down.
it
Continue.
narrows it down a lot. That's why I thought I'd throw an easy one off the bat. This one did not go to college.
George Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That took me through a spin. No college grad.
Yep.
Brother got a GED.
He was a simple farmer. I don't know if he even attended any school.
I
Tony.
don't think so. Yeah. Military.
Academy. Yeah.
Yeah. This one threw me off the most,
Okay.
but I'm ready. Maybe I should stop saying my preface so I won't be so crazy. So, they died broke. They had such a lavish lifestyle that actually, during their presidency, so I'm narrowing it down again, but during the 8 years that they were president, their wine bill alone, the bill used for wine during that 8 years, was $11,000. So at this time, it's over $250,000. It's about $280,000. Or sorry, not $250,000. Geez, $250,000. Yeah, $280,000. I said that correctly. Sorry.
James Monroe.
No,
So Madison. It's Madison. Sorry.
Jefferson.
Really? He
Yeah,
died broke?
That's what I said. I looked this up and was like, "There's no way." But the other ones did have a crazy lavish lifestyle,
Yeah.
and I was hoping I'd trick you on number 2. So sorry for tricking you.
No,
but
you're
yeah,
good. I should have
it's
known.
Thomas Jefferson.
I should have known when you said wine, because I know the Monroe. I keep saying Monroes. I know Madisons were broke because they had to sell. His wife had to sell the house after he died to pay off debts.
Yeah.
So they were broke too. I keep saying Monroe. I meant to say Madison, but it was still wrong.
Okay. No. You're all good. You're all good. Yeah. Sorry for throwing a curveball. I was kind of like, I wanted to give you some toughies. So, this is a big one. This person lost re-election, once again a president, but lost re-election due to his views of the office, the presidential office. He tried to make sure that the lobby, he was basically creating this lobby to inform the people that they should refer to the president as His Highness. And he's also, kind of funnily enough, outside the re-election and this whole Your Highness thing, he's accredited for having it's the oldest active professional music group, which is the United States Marine Band.
Wow.
So he created that but also he tried to create the whole fact of you're supposed to say Your Highness.
Yeah, it's John Adams.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What gave that one away? The Your Highness?
Your Highness, because he also tried to do it when George Washington was president.
Yeah, he was very, very royalty centric.
He was closer to Britain. That was another reason why he wasn't reelected, because the New Americans didn't like that. And Jefferson was closer to France, who helped them win. So they were like, I like this.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to trip you up here.
Okay.
So, sorry, I don't mean to trip you up, but you're just so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So, at a young age, this person actually wrote in pure documentation that they didn't believe that humans had free will. He wrote what was called a dissertation upon liberty and necessity, pleasure and pain. Then, later in his life, became a founding father, thought, hey, this is not good. So any copy he ever found, he burned. And almost burned every copy, but they do have a copy of this, which proves why he didn't believe it.
Jefferson.
Benjamin Franklin.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you didn't say president. I was still thinking president. But okay.
Yeah, but he wasn't the president. That was the whole shit.
Yeah.
But that was there was those two. I was really hoping, because every single one I'm trying to get like a razor thin margin on them. Ooh. But sorry, Mark, I don't mean to trip you up. I kind of feel bad at this point.
You are meaning to trip me up, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad, but a little bit. Yeah,
Franklin. Wow.
So that means next time you'd give me trivia, rip me a new one. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. But yeah, Benjamin Franklin, I read that. I was like, whoa, really? I never thought about it. He was also the oldest founding father. Well,
I knew that.
Of the grouping of the founding fathers.
Yes, I knew that, yeah.
And also, before he died, his last words were, like, his daughter was like, hey, you're snoring a lot. Go lay down kind of deal. And he's like, oh, for old people, nothing's easy. And he died after that. It's like crazy. Yeah, but that's his last.
He also decided to stay in France with his other lady, and he got a letter saying his wife was dying in Philadelphia, and he said, I'm not going to make it in time, so I'll just stay here.
That's crazy.
To be fair, it would have taken him 3 months to get home, but, what?
Yeah, I mean, morality. He also didn't believe he had free will, so technically he wrote himself off. Okay, so this person, founding father, involved themselves in the first political scandal of adult relations. The woman who is accused of said act with this founding father actually filed for divorce from their husband that they're currently married when they're having the divorce, when they're having the scandal. And the lawyer who helped in the divorce just so happened to be this founding father's rival.
Alexander Hamilton.
The Reynolds pamphlets, yeah. But the twist there was I didn't know Burr helped Maria Reynolds to divorce her husband. Isn't that crazy?
It is. Yeah. Because was that part in the musical? I don't know.
No. They never closed in. By the way, Alexander Hamilton's super hard to find a fun fact on because every single thing is covered in the musical.
Yeah.
About everything. That's fun. Okay, last one. So, you said this person's name earlier. Just
yeah.
Yeah. Proposed that congressional pay would be determined by the average price of wheat during the previous 6 years of a congressional session.
So it's either Madison.
But they're all unique. They're all unique here. I didn't have any repeats just to help you out.
So it's either Madison or Monroe. So it's one of those two.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's the question. Okay. Reread it to me.
Okay. Proposed congressional pay would be determined by the average price of wheat during the previous 6 years of congressional session.
Madison.
Yeah. Isn't that funny, though? Like, how cool is that? You know what I mean? Like, even in the early time, they're like, hey, we should take the most common denominator price of what everyone needs. Let's do wheat. Mm-hmm. Your pay should never be more than that. Like, basically, to help with some stuff.
So they both were in Congress before they were president, Madison and Monroe. And the only reason I said Madison was because he's known for more vigorous debate.
Yep. And is Madison.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Mark, you got it. Basically all of them. I think the Thomas Jefferson died broke, and Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But by the way, also I gave you indeterminate number because I just said founding fathers. That could be anybody.
Correct.
So,
and so The wine should have gave it away for Jefferson because he was over in France and loved his
Wine.
Yeah.
Apparently, but also Jefferson, I didn't realize it, but Jefferson had he was kind of like a low-key, super smart dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like meaning he was fluent in Latin, German,
Yep.
French, and all these other languages, and on top of all that, was doing all that. But he had a very expensive lifestyle. That's
Yes.
why,
Well, John Adams was super smart, too. He probably had the most schooling, John Adams.
Oh, yeah.
And
John Adams.
he just didn't perform well in the presidency.
Yeah, I think he was probably a little too radical. I think that's what it seems like. He's very, very British oriented. We just fought a war to separate from said Brit. You know what I mean? It's
Correct.
just
He
what are
did
we
that,
doing?
and he passed the Alien and Sedition Acts, which basically said, this is not what it exactly said, but it meant that, if you looked at him funny, he could have the army search your house. And
Which, by the way, that's literally the right to bear arms. That was a big problem because they were quartering British soldiers, and they're like, "Wait, you're telling me at any point anyone can come in and into my personal domicile? That's not good."
Correct. Yeah, and it was very king-like, and especially with Your Highness, they're like,
"This guy.
We just left this,
Yeah, we're not trying to get another one.
He's the only.
I'm trying to keep my tea cheap, brother.
Yeah, he's the only founding father president that doesn't have a monument.
Wow. Okay. Was he the only founding father that didn't get reelected twice?
Yeah.
Because George Washington, Jefferson,
Madison and Monroe
Madison
are the
Monroe?
last. And so when they group presidents, even though John Quincy Adams, who came after Monroe, number 6, is John Adams' son.
By the way,
he's technically not a founding father, but he's lumped in that category. But he also did it, yeah.
Really? The other thing, too, is that the only people to break the streak between father and son president is Bush.
Yeah.
It took that long to break that streak.
Yeah.
The Adams were the only ones to do it. And, 100 extra years later.
There was a grandfather-grandson, but...
Yeah, but no father-son.
Yes.
Yeah.
And W got two terms. He broke that curse, too.
W. Oh, yeah, because it was reelected. Because neither of them got reelected, right? The Adams.
The Adams and HW didn't get reelected.
Wow.
So...
W. Go Bush. That's kind of crazy to think about. All right, so last game that we have. So I told Jenna I had 2 games set up. My second game was less than stellar. Well, it wasn't less than stellar. I could have made it work. But Jenna was like, I think this would be more fun. So since we called this American Folklore, originally I told Jenna, hey, we're gonna have a folklore episode. She thought we were talking about Taylor Swift, and I was like, no, American Folklore, since we're releasing this on July 4th. She said, okay, well, how about this? What we're going to do is this game's called American Folklore versus Taylor Swift Folklore. So we're going to have to answer whether the quote is from a famous American poet or a lyric from a Taylor Swift folklore album.
Okay.
It has to be a lyric from that folklore album.
Okay.
Other thing, too, just to preface, Mark and I are not Swifties by any means.
So,
are you a Swiftie?
No.
I knew Folklore was an album. Couldn't tell you anything else about it.
I didn't even know Folklore
maybe
was
Lavender Haze. I think that's maybe one of the songs, but I don't know. So now, hey, Mark, ready?
Let's get our Swiftie on.
American Poets on.
Where's Travis Kelce when we need him?
Dude, not my tight end. I freaking lost that fantasy league. Thank you, Travis Kelce, you freaking nerd. All right, let's go. All right, so take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry. And here's the funniest thing. I also don't know this song. I couldn't even hum it, sing it, so I'm just reading everything in a relative monotone. I think we just got to go off the cuff. Jenna has like 10 here, so we just got to go off the cuff.
I'm going to say T Swift.
I think I'm just going to say T Swift too.
Yeah.
So there's something about where all the poets die. Are poets that self-reflective? I might regret this, but I'm going to say T Swift.
Yeah, I'm sticking with T Swift.
Stick it? Oh, nice. The Lakes, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
Easy. All right, Mark, we can get 100%.
Okay.
Come on.
1 for 1.
Oh, if we cut the episode, this is 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
we're good. Okay. Holiday House sat quietly on that beach, free of women with madness, their men, and bad habits. God, when it rhymes like that. I'm going to say American Poet, though. Something tells me Taylor Swift would never say free of women.
I agree. I'm going to go American. We don't have to say which American poet, right?
No.
Because I couldn't guess that. But I'm going to say American poet. I hope she includes it. Oh, it's Frost. So
no,
you're
I'm
right.
joking.
Yeah.
That's the only American poet I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I don't even think he's American. Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got to say that's American Poet. No way.
Is it Swift?
Yes.
Dang.
The last great American dynasty, Taylor Swift.
We're 1-1.
Dude, freaking, that was a red herring.
Yeah.
Red herring.
Watch them all.
Okay, now,
Watch them all be Taylor Swift.
First off, that'd be hilarious. Second off, I'm now regretting everything because, not regretting, but okay, I'll read this next one just so you know. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still.
So the caged bird sings, I think, is a Maya Angelou thing. So that's why I want to say American poet.
I almost looked at it. I had to guess too. I'm going to, dude, we got to break the cycle.
Yeah. There's no way there's 3 Taylors in a row.
There's no way. Wow, Mark.
Was it Maya Angelou?
Yeah,
Why does the caged bird
good on you, dude. Honestly, I was going with you. I trusted your gut. The second you said Maya Angelou, I was like, dude, this guy knows it. Are you kidding me? I'm just trying to get a C right now.
How you doing?
I did. All right, but that's crazy. You need to know that. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace. And so the battleships will sink beneath the waves. I'll read that one more time, sorry. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace. And so the battleships will sink beneath the waves. That's got to be an American poet.
Yeah.
It sounds like
It does.
I can't think of
it
that
doesn't sound
in
like
an
it as
actual
a song,
thing.
you know? Yeah, I don't know who it is this time, Tony, but I'm gonna say American poet.
Robert Frost.
Is
You
it
got to
Taylor
be
Swift?
kidding me. Yeah.
Holy.
My tears ricochet Taylor Swift. Dude, there's
Maybe
people...
she's more of a poet than we give her credit for.
Exactly. Honestly, I'm getting more respect for Taylor. I think there's people going to listen to this and they're going to be thinking we're absolutely mad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do we have any Swiftie listeners? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
we probably have a lot.
yeah.
Well, we're half right now. 2 rights, 2 wrongs. Honestly, we should have passing average. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Engineering passing average.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
Yeah.
I'll take a 50%. All right. From every depth of goodwill, the mystery which binds me still. Dude, Jenna's got me. This is more. See, here's the thing. I'm not playing the game. I'm playing Jenna.
I'm psyched out now.
I'm psyched out, but here's the thing. I'm playing Jenna. I'm just trying to think, would she... I'm going to say Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Just to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to mess
We're
with us
gonna
a
be
little
wrong now.
bit.
But yeah,
Are you saying Taylor Swift too?
Yeah.
Oh, God, Mark, we can both be wrong. Edgar Allan Poe. We're garbage. We're garbage. No, I'm just joking. All right. But that's Edgar Allan Poe. 2 and 3.
Okay.
If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life, the aching.
What was the last line?
If I can ease one life, the aching.
The aching.
Breaking and aching is the operating rhyme there.
I'm just so psyched out, Tony.
I'm
I
so
don't
psyched
know.
out too. I'm gonna say American poet here.
Same. As
Oh, Emily Dickerson. All right, we got that right. We're slowly coming back. We're slowly
we're
coming
tied.
back.
Okay, we gotta get the advantage here, Tony.
Yep. The thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares, it's born from just one single glance, but it dies a million times.
It's got to be a poet. There's no way Taylor's
There's
using clandestine.
No way. You can't sing clandestine.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I'm about to throw this across the room.
Is it Taylor Swift?
Illicit affairs, Taylor Swift.
She's saying clandestine.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, we are
Not good.
We're top garbo. Holy cow. That's bad. The clandestine, I thought, you know what I mean?
After this, I'm going to listen to it to see how...
FolkLORE, yeah. Oh, my goodness. That was like her COVID one, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
Well, I want to see
It was
how
like
she
3
sings
hours
clandestine.
and she did, yeah. Oh, yeah. God, now I'm really freaked out. I don't know. What I assume, you should assume, for every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. Sounds like Jitto's
That's
toast.
literally what I was thinking.
As good as you are, and as bad as I am, and as bad as you are, and as good as I am.
And we know Jitto's an American poet, so I'm doing
American poet. That's easy. We got to do that. American poet. Walt Whitman. Nice. Dude, Walter White.
There you go.
WW.
WW. Yeah.
Nice. I hear the wind among the trees playing celestial symphonies.
Swift.
American poet. We'll go different.
Yeah.
We'll go different. Ooh, I'm going American poet. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Ooh. Okay.
She said clandestine, so nothing's off the table for me.
Celestial, I mean, come on. She's singing that. She's
Yeah.
singing anything. Time, curious time, gave me no compasses, gave me no signs. You can't sing that. That's got to be American Poet.
She's been surprising us, Tony.
Are you going opposite? I'm saying American Poet.
I'm going to say I. Oh, is this the last one or no?
No.
Oh,
we got 3 more.
Because I think she's gonna end on a Taylor Swift. So I'm gonna do American Poet.
American Poet.
Yeah. It's Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh, Invisible String, Taylor Swift. Dude, what is this? What is Taylor Swift? This is a great game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're getting destroyed here. The golden vision reappears. I see the eyes, but not the tears. This is my affliction. Ah, God.
Poet.
It's gotta be,
It's
right?
gotta be Poet. Yeah.
Yes, T.S. Eliot.
Okay.
Nice call, Mark. Nice call. Take the road less traveled by. Tell yourself you can always stop. What started in beautiful rooms ends with meetings in parking lots.
I think it's
That's gotta be a T. Swift.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing:
I
take the
thought-
road
does
less
it-
traveled by. That's Frost. That's Robert E. Frost, baby. Right?
It is.
I took the road less
but
traveled by.
I think Taylor Swift has a song called "The Road Less Traveled."
But also, nice. I was just going off parking lots. Come on, no
Yeah.
American Poet's gonna say parking lots. I hope.
I'm T Swift. Yeah.
I
We'll see.
hope.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, Illicit Affairs by T. Swift, quoting Robert Frost. She put that
There
out
you
there.
go.
Wow.
But so that she meant for that to be a trip.
She
up,
meant for that to be a trip up.
but she used the same song twice.
She used the same song. But, I mean, there's only so many
Yeah,
songs.
yeah.
But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 12 songs total. 6 and 5 was our end together, and then we got 1 half and half. So we got passing average. That's all that matters.
Okay. Yeah.
Done. So
I'm
we
good
won.
with that.
We won.
Yeah.
Mark. That's all we need to know. Wow, that was actually a lot harder than I
was
thought.
good because we don't know Taylor Swift.
I don't know
so we were
anything.
going in blind there.
Yeah.
Tony.
Dude, that's like giving me a history test right now. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do too high, but no, that was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Jenna, for always spending time
Yes.
doing that. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. This folklore, and then, but in a single episode, we've managed to talk about Johnny Appleseed, Nicolas Cage, and Taylor Swift. This is, I mean, holiday episodes are just so much fun.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah. Speaking of Nicolas Cage,
yeah,
while I love National Treasure, I also watch all of his work,
of course.
and I just
Ghost Rider's up there.
oh yeah,
I love Ghost Rider.
just because I just watched one of his newer movies, The Surfer, last weekend
Okay, I
with
didn't
Gabe
know.
and Jamie. I might as well talk about it because it's Nick Cage. It's got nothing to do with this.
Wait, the Surfer, is that with Pedro Pascal?
No, Pedro Pascal's in his The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Is that
Oh,
that's the movie.
okay.
And he plays
Oh, wow,
an
you
exaggerated
got it.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Surfer is nothing like any of his other movies, but it's Nick Cage, and he's an American, and he grew up in Australia, and he's trying to buy his childhood home, and there's a bunch of surfers that are just really mean to him, and he kind of goes crazy and gets dehydrated in the parking lot of this beach because they won't let him surf. It's a very weird movie. He does a lot of weird movies now.
Yeah, but they're
And
creative. Yeah.
Maybe that's why he hasn't responded to any comments on National Treasure because he just goes.
He's doing too big. Yeah. Yeah. Next thing, he's just gonna keep putting out those movies. But I bet you, if the money's right, well, maybe not the money's right, but if they actually came with a good, solid script, I hope you'd take it.
He used to be married to Elvis's daughter too.
I did. Okay, I heard about that, dude. The other thing too is I just watched. Speaking of that, Michael Jackson.
But was married to her. Yeah.
Yeah, was married to her too.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I know they're the same daughter, right?
It's
Is it
the
same?
only daughter, only child, only
okay,
daughter.
wow. Yeah, we were just watching. I took my mom with, she's helping out with everything with Peter and all that. I was like, Jen and I got some tickets and everything like that. But there's Michael Jackson the musical, and so we went to go. She loves Michael Jackson, so I
Yes.
brought her with it, and it was a lot of fun. And we talked about that. But yeah, she brought that up during intermission. She was like, "You know, he was actually married to Elvis Presley's daughter." And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I never knew that.
Which is wild that
Nicolas Cage is married to her.
yeah, Elvis is dead. The daughter's dead. It's just his wife that is still alive.
His wife's still alive?
Yeah.
No
As far as I know. 'Cause
way.
She may have died recently, but the daughter died first.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But, so, Nick Cage, huge Elvis fan.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, he got married to her solely to be closer to Elvis and his things. But Elvis was dead, obviously.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say.
And they got divorced because he didn't actually like her. He just wanted
Liked
to
Elvis,
be,
yeah.
And so Graceland, which was Elvis's home,
Mm-hmm.
the first floor is open to tourists. Second floor is for family only, private residence.
Yep.
and it's got all of Elvis's things up there, so it's highly guarded kind of deal.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. And he was able to go up there when he was married?
Rumor, allegedly he did, allegedly he didn't, because they say only Presley family members have been up there since he's died.
Like blood.
Yeah. So likely he was led up there because he was married into the family.
Yeah.
But so
maybe that's why he went through this whole, the whole shebang. He was like, hey, technically we're family by letter of the law.
Yeah.
You know?
So because there's this on YouTube, there's these. It's called Wired Autocomplete Interviews.
I do watch those.
I love those.
Yeah.
And he did one. And one of the question was, did Nicolas Cage go to the top floor of Graceland? Mm. And the part of that rumor is that he went up there and he tried on Elvis's clothes, right?
Oh yeah.
And he reads and he goes, "That is none of your business," and then moves on to the next question.
Wow.
That to me means he did.
Yeah. He's neither conforming nor denying. Yeah. I love that. But yeah, no, Mark, what a whirlwind episode. I mean, this is awesome. I love these holiday episodes. It kind of gets us off our, not like trance throb, but normal episodes. Makes us a little more loose, a lot more fun, and it's so great. So I totally appreciate your time on that.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks everyone for listening. Please reach out with questions, mix-up ideas, what-if ideas, game ideas.
Yeah, please.
Also, please let us know if you're on board for a National Treasure 3.
Exactly.
I'm taking a poll.
Please, yeah, if you want to answer that poll, we'll have that on, Instagram, X, at the Live Laugh Lore Pod, or you can email us at the livelaughLorePod@gmail.com. That's livelaughLorePod, POD, @gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.